Hi everyone, my name is Darius, and I'm the lead designer on the Airballoon game, and I'm here today with Malcolm
Hey, I'm the lead artist.
and Alex.
Hey, I'm the programmer.
And basically, what we're going to be showing you off today is one of the mini games for Little Monsters Grand Adventure, and we'll just be discussing, design and art and the programming, and just our general combination of ideas in this game. So I'm going to start off with the adventure mode. This is the main menu, and what you might notice is the backgrounds are actually changeable every time you play the game. But I'll start off with adventure. Now here we're at the pilot select screen, and this is where you can pick your pet, and it'll be relative to what pets that you own. Now Malcolm, do you want to say a little bit about the pilot select screen in terms of why you chose this certain kind of design
Yeah,
user interface?
it's kind of like supposed to be. I don't know if you remember kind of old fighter games stuff like that. That's how you see it. You click on the character you want to play as, and you see like the full length kind of portrait of them. That's the kind of idea behind this. You just click on, tap on the pet that you want to use, and you'll see him come up, and you'll see him like sort of standing there ready to go. I think it also tells you his element in the top right, um, which just lets you know what kind of ability you can use later on in the game. But obviously it's not, once you play the game you'll see that. Once you've selected your pet, you just hit the big green go button and you should fly into the actual game.
Yeah, that's correct. Each pet has a different kind of colour which corresponds to the element, and each element has their own ability, as Malcolm was saying. So like this guy here and this guy here, the fireman and the dragon have the fire ability, and same with the rest of the other pets. I actually really like this effect that you've done, Malcolm, with the overlay over the pilot screen. It looks really cool. And I'm gonna begin playing with Fluff Pet. So here I am at the map screen, and as you can see, we have three different choices of path on which we would like to go. Now, the way this has been designed is essentially each time the player starts a game, they'll be given different options to choose, and it'll be random which enemy they're going to be facing. So this is the standard enemy, and this is the splitter enemy. And again, you'll see the standard enemy down here. Now it's completely random, so you might run into a path where you're having, two of the same. But yeah, we're going to begin in a second. But I'll just want to let Malcolm talk about the map.
Yeah, I mean, this is, it's kind of, I guess, it's kind of laid out in a sort of, my inspiration for this was actually Star Fox, like the old N64 game, Star Fox 64, which had a very similar sort of system where you chose the planet you'd want to go to, or the level that you'd want to play, and you'd have like different junctions and different areas you could go to, and depending on which way you went, it'd be harder or easier, and you get better rewards or lesser rewards if you took an easier path. It was kind of risk versus reward, and you can make that judgment as a player, as what enemies you like to fight, what enemies you don't like to fight. I think there's other choices like chests and mystery nodes which you can go to. I think I laid it out like so you can get as many, like there's very fast routes and there's quite long routes depending on how much treasure you want to accumulate from one playthrough. The actual map, it looks quite different from the art style of the rest of the game, which I kind of I took some inspiration from Lord of the Rings actually for that, which is quite odd for the sort of style of the game, but I think it works pretty well with the wee sort of nodes I've drawn for the map.
We'll actually be showing off the main game with a similar kind of map, Malcolm, but that's something for later. So Alex, can you tell us a bit about how it was for programming this particular section?
It was an interesting experience. Like when we first started this, we weren't sure the exact direction we're going to have the actual levels take place, like where we people able to use any of the paths, how the level selection works, things like that. We weren't sure exactly like how random enemies appeared in the level. So it was an interesting task it. It ended up being something where, like, even though it's clearly a branching path, it's actually very much a brute force in a programming sense. Instead of using like an array to hold everything and go through it, it's very much more just a brute force, just change values when this situation comes up.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alex. We are actually having a bit of a technical issue as Alex is from America and we're broadcasting this in Scotland, so we have a long internet connection. But yeah, I'll start by playing the game. And as you'll notice, there's different kinds of UI around the place to show the player various points of information. Malcolm, can you tell us a little bit about the user interface that you've got set up here? Like, what's this bar at the top?
Well, it's a progress bar of the level that you're currently playing. It just as you play a level, instead of having like a timer or something like other games might have, it just tells you how long till the end of the level or whatever. You just see a little miniature air balloon that slowly travels across, and you can see that there's a little marker for the halfway point, and you see where the end is, the start and finish on left and right, respectively. And it's just basically an indication of how far along the level you are and how long you've got left in that level.
Okay. I noticed that the pet had a special ability. It has a special type of button. The reason we actually have pet abilities was just to add a little bit of taste to the different types of pet that you would have. So if you were a certain type of element, you would have a different kind of experience while playing through the game. Also, here we're at the score screen just now, and as you can see, you get like a star system reward. You also get coins and different stats that are available to the player. And Malcolm actually heavily influenced this when he was outlining the score. He felt that this was information that players would like to know, and I agree with him. And so we decided to work on this. And obviously Malcolm came up with this scoreboard. Yeah, and as you can see, we've even got the pet idol, and he's dancing around. So we're just going to go to the next game. Sorry, the next node, which is a splitter pet. And what you'll notice is, from the previous round, the standard enemy is coming out, and now we have splitter pets as well, or splitter enemies. And what these guys do is they split into two. You'll notice the wee green icons at the bottom are actually indicators of health. So Malcolm, tell us a bit about the different kind of abilities that the pets have in terms of the art style that you went with for that particular ability.
Well, there's 4 different abilities, one for each type that we have in the game. You know, fire, earth, water, and air. And it was actually quite tricky to try and balance them. I mean, we could have just made them all do the same thing and just have them look differently or whatever. I think we went for a kind of different, they all had they were quite unique, you know. I think the air one has like lightning that comes down and stuns for a couple seconds, and the rock one has tons of rocks that fly out of the basket and they smash like enemies. I think you're using the fire pet at the moment, so that should be like a kind of fire blitz, which just completely destroys everything. It's really quick, but it destroys everything. So some other ones last much longer, but have less OP effects, you know, less overpowered effects. So they don't actually just kill them. Like for instance, the stun doesn't kill anything; it just stuns them. I think the water one just slows the effects down, and so it's kind of balanced out.
Yeah, the score as well. You actually get score for just as slowing and stunning, as Malcolm may have already said. Whereas if you just obliterate them, you lose in the score, but you are, remaining safe. Whereas, this is just to slow them down a wee bit, and that makes the effect less OP, as Malcolm was saying. These question marks here, actually, we're now in the pilot search screen of survival, and these question marks here really represent pets that you've still to collect, and once you collect them in the game, they'll be available as a pilot. Now, the adventure mode that we had just played was essentially, just get from point A to point B, taking a different route, as we explained in the map. But in survival, we wanted to have a game mode where it just got more and more intense, where you had different kinds of waves of enemies that would come at the player, and you would just pick the pile that you wanted to go in, and you'd essentially let it survive for as long as you could, and time was a big factor. So as long as you make it to wave 8, you essentially completed the game, but it still goes on after that, and it's just basically how high a score you can get, and you can compare it with your friends. So I'm going to show off the I'll show off the dragon. So, Alex, can you tell us a little bit about the programming for the survival mode?
There are small tweaks to it. Like the progress bar is different from the air balloon game in that we, instead of having it lasting for a certain period of time, we instead have a countdown to when you're gonna enter. That's the main difference between that and the survival and the adventure mode gameplay, I would think. That and the adding new enemies as time goes on, rather than choosing a map screen.
Cool. And we just actually had a transition effect there. Can you tell us a bit about that, Malcolm? Like, why do we have a transition effect then, rather than?
In the adventure mode, you obviously jumping between different nodes, and each level lasts only like 30 seconds, or between 30 and a minute or something like that. In the adventure mode, and in this, and between each level, you'll notice the background changes from like day to night in different areas. You're flying over like oceans, you're flying over mountains, you're flying over, forests and stuff like that. But in a survival game, you're not going to get that. You're not going to be coming out of the game and then going into another level. The levels are seamless; they go straight into another level. So to make it so the background could change, we had this sort of transition effect that came in, so it would switch the backgrounds. And it had this kind of weird side effect. I think it was an accident originally, but it caused this kind of weird effect to happen on the patch, which I actually thought was pretty cool. I said we should just keep it because I thought it was pretty cool. Like how it
Yeah.
looks.
It reminds me of some games that we used to play when we were younger. So we actually do have some throwbacks to some games that we played. Could you tell us a little bit about? I've been hit by a few enemies now, and it's having an effect on my balloon. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Oh yeah, the main balloon in the middle of the balloon you're flying has 5 different damage states, and if you see your health bar at the bottom of the screen, you should see I think 5 segments on that, and each of them represents like a different damage state. If you're in the first one, I think it's 4 segments, is it? I can't remember.
No, it was 5. You were
You're
correct. Yeah.
Well, at full, your balloon's immaculate. It's intact. It's fine. But once you go into the first one, you'll start to see little tears appearing all over it, and as you go into as your health bar goes lower and lower in those segments, and you jump to the next segment, you'll see more bigger holes and stuff affecting the balloon. I mean, it doesn't actually affect your speed or anything really. It's just a kind of visual sort of feedback for the player to realise, like, wait a minute, here I am, my balloon's in trouble. I mean, I did make the health bar at the bottom pretty big, but also the balloon also represents the health of the balloon. I think if you gather HP from like killing enemies, I don't think it actually heals the damage states. I think that was intentional, wasn't it?
Well, it is in just now, but yeah, it is something as I was going to say. This isn't all finalised, but yeah, what Malcolm has said is correct. Essentially, we're not going to have the damage states repair. It's going to be, the way that they are. But yeah, can you tell us a little bit about the backgrounds as well?
Yeah,
in terms of drifting into each other.
Yeah, they're. I mean, I made them so they were seamless. Like each, like so they could repeat perfectly. If you notice carefully, I made them quite long so it wasn't too obvious, and they'd only repeat so many times because I made them quite short that you see them repeating all the time. It looks kind of tacky, but so I made them as long as I could, as well, making it still look pretty seamless. So that goes over and over. I think every single level is seamless with each other, so they should merge perfectly. like each line ends where the next line begins, just to make this really nice kind of flowing effect of the levels.
Yeah,
In the background.
it looks great because it almost looks like each area is like kind of like an element, so to speak. Like, you know, this is like kind of watery. The other area that we were just in was kind of like a barren fireland. But yeah, it's looking great. I've actually just died now. And yeah, it looks pretty awesome. So we're going back to the game. And this is what we have. This is adventure in the survival mode. Two different modes of the Airborne game. The music was created by our musician Gary, which you may have heard in the previous video, some of his music before. He's still got some sound effects. Obviously, you may have heard a sound effect bug just there, which we were hoping to iron out. But yeah, the sound effects and music have been coming along really well. I can't tell you how much difference it's made to the game. You know, we tried it without sound and music, and we actually tried it with testers, and once we added music and sound in, it just added another dimension to the game. So we're looking forward to, you know, getting this game polished up, getting bugs ironed out, and attaching it to the base game. But that's really all we have to say today. I'd like to thank you guys for watching our video.